Hello, welcome to another video in this Ruby on Rails Airbnb clone series. Let me check what part it is. It is part 33, and in this video, I was trying out things. We'll set up the description here. Let's get started and then I'll explain you what are the problems with this. So in current Airbnb, we have this description and it shows show more. If we click on it, it shows further details. Okay. By the way, we are not implementing these things for now. They are not that important for our case. And again, this is way too dynamic on Airbnb side. So I'm just sticking to whatever is really required for each and every property. So let's go to show HTML. We are already on description. You can try to find this string. Let me to get stash clear. Let me refresh. Okay, so we want to set up this border top. So for that we'll go to limited release, and below that we were able to see that, right? So that should be part of this one. Let's go to our description, and in that let's try to use this. Will this work? It did work. So we will stick to March PT10. Yeah, it looks good. And let's increase the margin top 4 so it looks a bit more centered. Yeah, looks good. Now let's change this string. The basic this. So let's get rid of this entire string, and instead of that, let's use description. Percent equals to property @ property dot description. Property dot description. It's working, and we can get rid of this highlights and details and all. So let's section and this. Let's get rid of all these. Now I'm wondering, do we actually need this? Refresh. On smaller screens also it looks good. But what I want to do is I want to increase its size. So for that, okay, let's not increase the size. We'll do that later. But assume we want to restrict this to one line, because in this also we have restricted it to, in Airbnb they restrict it to like 5 to 6 lines, and after that they use show more. So let's try to implement that feature. So for that, what I'll do is dot truncate 50 words, 50 character, whatever the length is, 50 length. For now I'm doing this. Later on we will increase that. Along with this, I'll have to implement something else, which is if at that property description dot length is greater than 50, that means we have to show our show more button also, right? So for that we can write div /div. It looks a bit similar to show more, looks a bit similar to 77 reviews. So let's go to our reviews. At the top where we had implemented this, let me copy this line. No, not this one, sorry, this one. Let's go to our code, and in that let's paste this here. But instead of these, I want to make some changes and use underline property reviews and all. Instead of that, what can I use here? Show more. Let's refresh. on home, refresh, and it is showing us this. And along with this, let's use this SVG. So right click on this right icon, which is beyond, just next to show more, inspect, copy this SVG, copy element, and paste it here. Let's see how it looks. Looks fine. Class flex item center looks good. And can we have gap of 2? Yeah, it works. Looks good. Gap 1 looks much better. So now if we increase this size, let's say 500, yeah, 500, and here also we will have to increase it to 500. In that case, we won't be able to see show more. So that's the basic implementation. Now I'll stop this here because there are 2 options. For some users, we can just keep basic. For some learners, we can just keep this as basic if you prefer that. And in the next video, I'll basically optimize on this description part. Okay, so you can have a look at the next video. I think it is important technically. If you are just focused on the Airbnb product, it's not that important. But if you are focused on learning new things in Rails, I think it is important. So I'll stop this video here and save it. Can we make further changes to this? This looks good. This looks a bit cluttered, but still that's what they are showing. And we can change this later on. Okay, so I'll keep this limit as 500 and stop this video. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.